6 continents, 164 countries, 10 positions chosen, and over 10,000 Youth Academy Scout reports. The test is completed, and I'm here to show you the results of what countries are best to send your Youth Academy Scouts to. This video will be the first of a 4-part series, focusing on goalkeepers first. Tomorrow's video will be the results for the defenders, followed by midfielders and then attackers. Now, in terms of the players I find from the scout reports, the way that I will be selecting a player is purely down to one thing, and that's potential only, not stats and not playstyles. This is purely because stats and playstyles are subjective. For example, you might like a striker to be fast and agile, whilst other people might like their strikers big and strong and hold the ball up, so some stats you prefer, whilst others prefer something else. And that can be said for playstyles too. Some players might not have the best playstyles for their position, or you might think a player is crap because they don't have many playstyles. But one thing you can't argue with is a player's potential. So that's why I've decided potential to be the focus point in determining what players I select from the scout reports. So the way I will measure a player's potential is they must have the status of has potential to be special, the best status a youth player can have, meaning their potential is over 90 rated. So a quick tip for you guys, sometimes you're able to see your player's potential status, like you can with this fella. That is because he is 60 rated or over, and in this case he's 69 rated, so that's why we can see that he has potential to be special. Most high potential 17 and 16 year olds are already currently at 60 rated or above, so you can see their potential status straight away. With 14 and 15 year olds, it's a bit trickier because most of them are under 60 rated, so the game doesn't show you their proper potential status, and all it will say is, at the club since. Like this guy here. That's not to say this player won't be world class, because he will be, but how do I know that? Well, throughout this whole process, I've been using my previous video to guide me to identify the potentials of 14 and 15 year olds. If you've not watched it yet, then I would really recommend you to take a look, because it will 100% help you identify the very best Youth Academy players and what to look out for. And it gives you an understanding of how the youth system works. So I'll link it in the description and put it in the end screen if you want to take a look. So let's now get into the results for the best countries to send your scouts to when it comes to goalkeepers. So firstly, all 3 of my scouts have 5 stars for both experience and judgment. This will of course deliver me the best chances of getting high potential players. I'll quickly walk you through the process of how I've conducted this test. So I worked all the way through the 6 continents and all 164 countries in the game, starting with South America and making my way down the list, with the first 3 countries being Argentina, Bolivia and Brazil, with every country receiving 10 scout reports per position. This literally took me 3 weeks to complete. Alright, so when it comes to goalkeepers, I just set the scout duration for 3 months because it doesn't matter, as I'll be save scumming. If you don't know what that is, then I'll be showing you it in this process anyways. I have selected all the focused roles too, just because it makes sense, as there's only 3 roles available. But with the other positions in the later videos, I go against choosing roles because there's multiple to choose from, so I left the scouts just searching for the position instead of specified roles. Now I do want to stress, all these results in this series are just from my personal findings. I'm not saying these are the best countries to scout in with 100% certainty, it's just the results I got. Alright, now that my first 3 countries are set up, my next step was to save my game a day before my scout reports are due back. This, as many of you probably know, is to allow us to keep reloading our save, in order to keep getting infinite new scout reports. So now our game is saved, I can now advance a day and receive the first scout report. And one thing I will say is that there are definitely a few surprises in this video, and top countries you'd think that would produce world-class players actually turn out to be a big disappointment. So with the first report in, let's check out Argentina's first attempt. So basically pretty crap. If you've watched my last video, then you'll know what I'm looking for, and there's no players here that fit that criteria. Basically the first stat I'm looking for is a potential rating of 75 to 94, which no players have. So I can swiftly move on to Bolivia. Again, nothing here stands out. Once you know what you are looking for in a scout report, you can really rip through them really quickly. So on to Brazil. And once again, no players fit the criteria. So that's the first attempt done with the first 3 countries, 9 more attempts left to find high potential players. So in order for me to quickly get the next scout report, I have to back out to the main menu whilst quitting without saving. So then from here, I just simply reload the save that I made when I was 1 day away from receiving the scout report. Now that I'm loaded back in, I can just again advance a day to bring up my new scout report. And I basically do this 10 times for all 164 countries, for every position, so you can imagine how long this has taken me to record. So into the second attempt with Argentina, and we actually come close to getting our first player. He ticks the first boxes with his potential rating being 78 to 94, but when we take a closer look, his status is exciting prospect, meaning his potential will be mid to high 80s. Still not bad, but we're only looking for players with has potential to be special, so this player doesn't cut it. Bolivia's second attempt did throw out a player I needed to take a closer look at, but he only turned out to be having a status of showing great potential, which means his potential rating will be in the low 80s, which of course is not what we want, and Brazil's second attempt didn't deliver anything positive either. So now you know the process of how I've conducted this test. To cut a long story short, these 3 countries did not make the list for best countries to send your scouts to for goalkeepers. So let's move on to the countries that did make the list and finally get to the results. Out of the 164 countries, only 11 countries made the list, with 7 countries having 3 high potential players, 3 countries that had 4 players, and 1 country having 5 players. So coming in at number 11, the country is Colombia. They had 3 players with potential to be special, and I'll quickly skim through them. Again, this is purely on potential only, but we will take a look at how many possible playstyles each player has, and height and so on. So here's Valentin Bello, he's 15, height is a bit of an issue, being 5'11". He has 3 to 5 playstyles, and the reason I know he will have super high potential is basically because of the combination of these 2 stats here. But I won't go into detail on that, because I've done a whole video on it, which will be in the description like I said. Anyways, if we take a closer look at this player, you can see he's currently 55 rated, meaning we can't see his true potential status, but let me tell you, he will definitely have potential to be special. Let's move on to player number 2 for Colombia. So here's Fernando Rey. He's the same age and height as the previous player, this time with 3 to 4 playstyles. Face value. You might think he looks pretty mid, but all I can advise is you check out the video I keep barking on about to realise he actually will have potential to be special. He's currently 53 rated, but he'll grow super quick because he's got high potential. But yeah, onto the last player for Colombia. Guzman here is also 15 years old, this time he's taller than the other 2, being 6'1", and he'll also grow a couple more inches by the time he turns 16, and he has a maximum of 2 playstyles. His current rating is also higher than the other 2 keepers, at 57 rated, probably the best keeper out of the 3. But yeah, that's Colombia wrapped up. Let's move on to country number 2 on the list, and that's Guyana. Like Colombia, Guyana also has 3 players that have potential to be special. Starting with this guy, Solomon Campbell. He's 16 years old, is 6'1", and has a maximum of 2 playstyles. Again, you might look at him and think, well, he doesn't look that great. But when we go to check his potential status, you can see he does have the status of potential to be special, and is currently 60 rated. So it goes to show, just because a player doesn't first look amazing, their potential can tell a different story. With that being said, let's move on to player 2. They seem to love the name Solomon in Guyana. This time we get our first 17-year-old, and he's at a much better height for a goalkeeper, standing at 6'5", and has 1 to 2 playstyles. He's currently at 65 rated, and does have the status of has potential to be special. Looks a solid pull to be fair. But let's head over to Guyana's third and last player. Here's Eddie King, again another 17-year-old, this time he's 6'2", and has between 1 to 3 playstyles. He has the highest overall out of the Guyana bunch, coming in at 66, and does of course have potential to be special. So yeah, that's Guyana's players. Let's move on to the next country on the list, with also 3 high potential players. And that country is Costa Rica. So the first player we pick up is Joan Lorenzo. He's 17 and is 6'2", so not terrible, and has a potential maximum of 3 playstyles. He's currently at just 61 rated, but more importantly, he has the status of has potential to be special, so he makes the cut. So now let's check out player 2. Here's Lucas Bustanut, and this guy looks insane. He's only 15 but is already 6'5", meaning when he's done growing at 16, he will probably be 6'6" or 7. He has 2 to 3 playstyles and is currently 59 rated, which is actually pretty decent for a 15-year-old. However, he's 1 rating shy of 60, meaning we can't see his true potential status, but let me tell you, he will definitely have potential to be special. But yeah, on to Costa Rica's final player. And at first I thought I managed to pull 2 players in one scout report here with this guy Bruno Roman. However, he doesn't quite cut it because his potential status is one down from potential to be special, and he's an exciting prospect. But we do get a player with potential to be special, and that's this chap Manuel Flores. His height is a slight issue at 5'11", but again I'm just judging on the player's potential. He also has between 1 to 4 playstyles. He's 16 years old and is currently rated at 61, meaning we can see his true potential status, which of course is the highest status you can achieve for a youth player. So that's Costa Rica's talent, and let's move on to our fourth country, again with 3 high potential players, and that country is Slovenia. And the first player up is Mr. Ratovnik. He's just 15 years old and has good height for his age, coming in at 6'2", which means he'll be 6'3" or 4" by the time he's finished growing. He has up to 2 playstyles, but unfortunately we can't see his true potential status because he's only 57 rated, but I assure you he will have potential to be special. So on to player 2 now for Slovenia, and that is Emil Bernik. Again, he's 15 years old like the other guy. This time he's just 6 foot. He does however have 3 to 5 playstyles, which is really nice for a goalkeeper. And like Ratovnik, we can't see this player's actual potential status because he's not 60 rated yet, coming in at 58 rated, but he will definitely have potential to be special. But now on to Slovenia's final player, and that's Domen Erber. He's 16 years old with real nice height at 6'4". He has 1 to 2 playstyles, but unlike the last 2 players, Erber is currently 63 rated, so we can see that he has potential to be special on the right. And that concludes Slovenia's players. Let's take a look at country number 5 on this list, and that's Moldova. This list of countries is very random so far, I know, but it's just the results I've been given. And the first Moldovan up is Kostel Nikolai. He's 17 and stands at 6'2", and has up to 3 playstyles. His current overall rating is 65, and of course has potential to be special. So that's the first goalkeeper. On to the second. Here's Eugen Radu. He's just 15 years old and has a brilliant height of 6'4", meaning he will still grow an inch or 2 when he turns 16. He has a potential of 2 playstyles, and usually you can't see a 15-year-old's true status because most of the time they are under 60 rated, but not with this guy. He's already over 60 rated, so we can see his potential status of has potential to be special. He looks an absolute monster, to be fair. But moving on, and let's get to Moldova's third and final player, Julian Popa. He's 16 years old, has very good height for a keeper, being 6'4", 2 to 3 playstyles. And if we take a look at his current overall, it's 61 rated, meaning we can see he does indeed have potential to be special. And that does wrap up this Moldovan masterclass of talent. Let's jump straight into country number 6 on this list, and that is India. And the first Indian beast goes by the name of Sourav Das. I do apologise if I'm butchering these names, if any of you viewers are from these nations. But yeah, this player is 16 years old, is 6'2", and has up to a possible 3 playstyles. He's currently 60 rated, and obviously he does have the status of potential to be special. So that's the first player from India. On to the second. So here's Sourav's brother, Niraj Das. This time he's 17 and 6 foot. He also has between 1 to 3 playstyles. Now normally I would say, to identify high potential players, this potential stat needs to be 75 to 94. But sometimes 16 and 17 year olds can get away with their minimum potential stat being 74 or 73. Just like the case here with Niraj, he has a minimum potential rating of 74, but still he has potential to be special, and is currently 62 rated. So yeah, that's India's second player. Let's roll to their final player, and that is James Bhutia. I mean, I won't lie, but this goalkeeper does look a bit poor on face value. 5'10" isn't great for a keeper. He's only 15, so he might grow a couple inches yet, to be fair. He does however have the possibility of having up to 4 playstyles. Annoyingly, he's 1 rating off of 60 rated, so as you know, we can't see his true potential status, but believe me, he will have the potential to be special as soon as he hits 60 rated. So that's the goalkeepers India provided. Time to move on to country 7, and the last country with 3 players with high potential. It's another random country, and it's Brunei. And the first player is called Mohammed Lim. Again, like a few players, you might be thinking, this player is crap. But going by my previous video, this player has all the boxes ticked in order to have the status of has potential to be special. He's currently 56 rated, but he will grow very quickly because his overall needs to catch up to his high potential. But yeah, let's pull up goalkeeper number 2 for Brunei. Alright, so this guy, Mahmoud Hamidi, looks better. He's 17 years old and has a much better height, standing at 6'4". He has up to 3 possible playstyles. And his current overall is 61 rated, meaning we've unlocked the ability to see his potential status, which is of course, has potential to be special. And let's swiftly move on to Brunei's third goalkeeper. So here's Jasham Hamdouchi. Like our previous player, he is also 17, stands at 6'2". His playstyles are a little disappointing, but he makes up for that by having high potential, which of course is the only component we are tracking for this video. Finally, he's currently rated at 63. So yeah, that was Brunei's unexpected appearance on this list of countries to scout when it comes to delivering goalkeepers. It's now time to turn our attention to the 3 nations that provided 4 players that all have potential to be special. And the first country up is Sweden. And their first goalkeeper looks incredible. Here's Olof Fredriksson. He's 16 and is 6'2". He's guaranteed to have a minimum of 4 playstyles, but could have 5 or 6. His potential here is also the highest you can achieve when looking at a scout report. His current overall is actually really high for a 16-year-old, currently at 64, and it's quite obvious that this goalkeeper has a status of has potential to be special. This goalkeeper will be hard to beat, but let's take a look at Sweden's second goalkeeper. Well, I say second, I meant to say second and third, because this report was crazy. I actually thought I'd found 3 players in one scout report. So let's break this down and investigate these 3 players. So first up is Carl Olsson. He definitely counts towards this video. So this is Sweden's second goalkeeper. He's 15 years old, still has time to grow a few inches to try and get to 6 foot. He has the possibility of 2 playstyles and is currently rated at 56, so we can't see his potential status. But trust me, he has potential to be special. So heading back to the scout report, next up is Ludwig Danielsson. He also counts towards this video because you'll see in a sec that he has potential to be special. So this fella is Sweden's third goalkeeper. He's 16, is 6'2", and has between 2 to 4 possible playstyles. Currently at 60 rated, and like I said, has potential to be special. Now the last fella in this report, Dennis Bergqvist, unfortunately he doesn't quite make the list, because when checking his potential, he's just an exciting prospect, and of course we are only shooting for the top of the range players. Nonetheless, still a very nice scout report. But yeah, that was Sweden's second and third players. Let's check out their fourth and final goalkeeper. Okay, so here's Alexander Gunnarsson. I think this is our first 14-year-old of the video. He's currently pretty small, especially for a goalkeeper, but there's a good chance when he turns 16, he'll be over 6 foot. He's got 1 to 3 playstyles, and his current rating is 54, but of course he has plenty of years for his current overall rating to grow and match his potential rating. 14-year-olds are never over 60 rated, so their status will always say, at the club since. So that's Sweden and their 4 goalkeepers done. Let's move on to country 9, and the second country to provide 4 players with potential to be special, and that is Nepal. Again, another strange country to be in this list. I'm intrigued to see if you guys also have luck in these countries, but again we get a player where at first glance doesn't stand out to be world class, but I can assure you he will have potential to be special. So Adhikari is 15 and 5'11", he'll be over 6 foot when he turns 16, so that's not a problem. He has a possibility of 2 playstyles. Current rating is 54. This is a boring one, but I have to count it because his potential will be over 90 rated. Let's quickly move on to player number 2 for Nepal. So Nishal Chowdhury is, I'd say, a little better, but still nothing to get you out of your seats. But again, I have to count it because he does have potential to be special. He's also 15, like our previous player from Nepal, but this time Chowdhury is a little taller, being 6 feet. His potential for playstyles is also promising, possibly having up to 5 playstyles. And lastly, his current overall rating is 57. So that's player 2 from Nepal. Let's check out player 3. So this time we have a 16-year-old called Balan Pandari. He's 6'1" with a possible 3 playstyles. But unfortunately, he's 1 level shy of 60 rated, so it doesn't show his real potential status. But he will 100% have well over a potential rating of 90. With that being said, let's switch to Nepal's 4th and final player. So it looks like we've saved the best to last when it comes to Nepal's goalkeepers. Here we have Paras Kaki, another 16-year-old, but now with a proper goalkeeper's height of 6'4". He has a possible 2 playstyles. But finally, because he's over 60 rated, we can see his actual status of has potential to be special. 63 rated is pretty high also, for a 16-year-old. But that does conclude all the high potential players coming from Nepal. Let's move on to our 10th country and last country providing 4 players, and that is Timor. Now I'll be real with you guys. I've no idea where this country is in the world, but they've brought me 4 high potential players. And first up is Vasco Pereira. This guy's a giant at 6'5" and just 16 years old. Has up to 3 playstyles, he is 59 rated currently, so we can't see his status, but he will definitely have high potential. So next up for Timor is this guy Vasco Andrade, another 16-year-old and with a solid height of 6'3". And like the previous player, Andrade has up to 3 playstyles. He's currently 61 rated, which reveals that he does have a potential status of has potential to be special. Now let's crack on with Timor's third goalkeeper that's made the cut. So here's Demenses. He's currently 15 years old and already 6'2", so he'll probably be like 6'4" when he turns 16, and has just the 1 to 2 playstyles. And like most 15-year-olds in this video, his overall is in the 50s, coming in at 56 rated. So yeah, can't see his status of course, but he'll have potential to be special for sure. And for Timor's last player, and this is an interesting one because I know you guys will look at him and think, this player is trash. But let me break it down for you. So firstly, he's only 14, and we know his stats and overall rating are going to be low. Secondly, he's only 5'9", but has 2 years yet to grow in height. He has 1 to 3 playstyles also. But again, I want to turn your eyes towards his potential current overall rating and his minimum potential rating. Basically, the bigger the margin between these two figures, the better the player usually is. This is because the current overall rating needs to catch up to his potential rating, and the margin number will decrease the older the player is, because obviously as the player gets older, their overall rating will be higher. So 14-year-olds will have the highest difference in margin, and usually if they have a difference of 33 between their minimum overall rating and their minimum potential rating, then they will have potential to be special. This guy has a difference of 37, so yeah, he'll be a baller. Sorry for those of you that have watched my previous video, but I just wanted to explain why this goalkeeper won't actually be crap, and instead, world class. Anyways, he's just 50 rated as it stands, but he'll develop super quick. So that was Timor's 4 goalkeepers. Let's move on to the last country on the list, and the country what provided me with the most high potential goalkeepers, and the best country to send your scouts to for goalkeepers. This country provided me with 5 high potential goalkeepers, and that country is Mexico. Usually famous for their food, but in the future they will be known for their goalkeepers. Starting with this fella, Isidoro Barrios, currently 15 years old, 6'2", and has a possibility of having 4 playstyles, and as it stands is 57 rated. Now let's jump to the second Mexican keeper, and that's Gonzalo Vieira. He's only 14 years old, and he's already an absolute unit. Already standing at 6'3", that means come 16, he's probably going to be 6'7" or more. He has 1 to 2 playstyles, and is currently 52 rated. Alright, so on to goalkeeper number 3. Well, 3 and 4 actually, because we have 2 in the same report. First up is Evaristo Blanco. He's 15, and again like our previous goalkeeper, this guy is also a bit of a mountain, standing at 6'4", and with a year left to grow more. He also has the potential of having 4 playstyles. Currently, he's 57 rated, so we can't see his actual potential status, but he'll be a beast. So next up, and goalkeeper number 4 for Mexico, is Lucas Rivas. He's 17 and stands at a respectable 6'3". He has a real promising amount of playstyles. He's guaranteed to have a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. He's 62 rated as it stands, which means we can see his potential status of having potential to be special. So that leaves us with one more goalkeeper from Mexico, their 5th and our last player for the video. Well, I was close actually to having 6 players from Mexico, and I thought it was with this goalkeeper here, Ricardo Crespo. He actually looks decent, but I can't count him towards Mexico's tally because he's an exciting prospect instead of has potential to be special. Sorry, Ricardo. So our actual player that makes the cut and Mexico's 5th goalkeeper is Adrian Marino. He's not much to look at, well, look down at. Being only 5'7", so he better get growing, he has a potential of 2 playstyles. And I don't need to explain again why this player will have potential to be special. He's only 50 rated, but he will develop very quick so that he can reach his potential. And that does wrap up Mexico's 5 goalkeepers and the video. So there you go. Those were my top 11 countries to send your scouts to for picking up the most high potential goalkeepers. Again, these were just my results, but please give these countries a shot and let me know in the comments section whether you also had any luck in these countries. Join me in tomorrow's video where we will be going through the results for left backs, right backs and centre backs. Again, feel free to watch my Youth Academy Guide video just so you get a better understanding on why I pick certain players for these videos. Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you're new. I hope to see you tomorrow for part 2. Thanks for watching, guys.